Hello my viewers, welcome back to the channel. By the video title, you know what this video is about. Okay, are the Steelers a contender? I was about to get my hair cut, and I seen on my phone, I was scrolling through, I was looking at the news and seeing certain things, of course. My free time is seeing any news, any things, that's some good topics, of course. As you guys know, this is the drop period. I'm trying to wait until, mini camps happen, OTAs happen. Then once that stuff passes in preseason, you get to the regular season. That's when you get kind of back to the nitty gritty and stuff. But I did see people talking about contending on ESPN. They was talking about the Cowboys and the Steelers, kind of similar boats. In a sense, I guess we in similar boats, but I think the Steelers in a little bit better standing, I think, in the long haul. But the Cowboys do have a quarterback. The Steelers don't have a quarterback. The Steelers do have good coaching and good defense, and they have everything else but the quarterback. So I think they're kind of similar in standing, but they were having a debate like on which team would be more of a contender this coming season, like that, based off their draft and everything. And some people said the Cowboys, some people said the Steelers, like that. So it's kind of a mixture. And that kind of led me to this video right here, which I think the Steelers being a contender, which is a very big question. And it's kind of like more if you're thinking like the Steelers being a Super Bowl contender or a playoff contender. Playoff contender, most definitely. The Steelers have no problem making the playoffs. That's not the problem. The Steelers have no problem getting to the playoffs and get to the playoffs over and over and over. We can get to the playoffs constantly like that. Past 2 years, been to the playoffs. The year before that, the thing 3 years ago, we missed the playoffs by a little bit, but the year before that, that year we missed it, got in the playoffs again. So the Steelers been in the playoffs, I think it was been like what 4 times in the past 5 years. So the Steelers have missed the playoffs too often. Then getting to the playoffs is the problem. The problem is winning. Once you win the playoffs, that's what the Steelers struggle at. The Steelers struggle at finding a way to get a victory in the playoffs, and we've seen constantly, they just get beat down. It's not even close playoff loss. You're like, damn. It's like we lost by a field goal, or we lost by a little bit like that. They got a game-winning touchdown on us. It's like some beat down. It's like something getting stumped like that. You're getting like mollywop. Anywhere you want to use like that, you're getting whooped out there. It'd be like crazy scores. Like the Browns game. Big Ben turned the ball over 3 or 4 times in the first half, and then you look at the score, it's very like the Steelers down by like 21, 24 points in the first half, and then you look at the Chiefs game, the Steelers getting smoked. I think one point in the game like down 35. I think one point the Steelers was up like 7-0. Remember, TJ Watt scooped and scored, but the offense couldn't score. I think the Chiefs scored like they scored like 5 or 6 straight touchdowns and beat us by like 42-14 or something crazy like that. But then you look at of course the Bills game. At one point in the game, the Steelers was in it. It was 31. I think it was 24-17. Mason Rudolph threw an interception in the end zone. That's the only mistake he made in that game. He threw an interception in the end zone, and the Steelers lost. I think like kind of got a little out of sort a little bit at one point in the game. And then you look at when the Steelers did cut the lead back, I think I missed that up a little bit. I think at one point in the game, it was one score. I think early on, Mason Rudolph threw an interception. The Steelers kind of got themselves back into it. They scored a touchdown and made it 17-24. And then the Steelers could not get a stop against the Bills at last run with that, what's his name? Shakir had a touchdown in the playoffs, versus the Steelers like that. He hit the touchdown and got the lead to 31-17, and it was basically over. You seen George Pickens throwing his helmet and all the crazy things that was happening, of course. And then you look at the last playoff game we just had against the Ravens. Now that one right there, the Steelers had opportunities in that game many times. The Steelers lost with 28-14 that game. He had opportunities many times in that game, but one thing you cannot do, you cannot get off the field on 3rd down. And then when you got an opportunity to get the ball in your hands to maybe cut it down to a 1-score game, what happened? You have mishaps. I think Pat Frymuth had a play where he caught the ball, and I think he fumbled. Something happened. He did something crazy. I think he dropped it or fumbled. Something happened, and then kind of messed the drive up. And Russell Wilson missed opportunities, missed throws, forcing throws, throwing jump balls to 5'9" receivers. So it was just all bad and stuff. So the Steelers getting to the playoffs is not really like their Achilles heel. It's like winning in the playoffs like that. You can get in the playoffs, but we can never win. We can get to the door every single time. Like we in the playoffs, we fight out to the gate. But our tickets never work to get inside. So we like, damn, we can never just get to the next floor like that. We like always stuck at the bottom. And it'd be like that for the past few years. The last time the Steelers won a playoff game, and we hear this all the time, was 2016, 2017 when they beat the Chiefs. They beat them by all field goals, which is crazy. Of course, Chris Boswell, I think that's his rookie season, right? His first year with the Steelers or something like that. Second year with the Steelers, it was like early on, Chris Boswell. But they won that game right there, and they went on to play the Patriots, which they lost. And the Patriots lost, the Jaguars lost, the Browns lost. What else lost? The Chiefs. And then you got the Bills. It's been a lot of losses for the Steelers like that the past few playoff matchups. They got to find a way to get the victory, find a way to get it done and stuff as well. I think the Steelers are a playoff contender, but you're talking about like in terms of contending, like to make a deep run. As a fan, you know, of course you'd be supporting my team and saying yes, but from a realist perspective, no. The Steelers do not have the position that you need. Like I mentioned on Steelers Syndicate channel, I think recently I made that video, and like I mentioned many times, the 3 most important pieces you need to compete for a Super Bowl. You need O-line, and the Steelers got a pretty good O-line. I think the O-line is kind of growing into it. I think kind of like young O-line is getting into it. We seen it last year that they played pretty well on running, like blocking in the run game and pass game as well. You know, some of those sacks that happened was not their fault really. Russell Wilson held the ball very long time at times to try to make a big play out of nothing sometimes instead of just throwing it away or taking a check down. But we've seen the O-line did play better last year. Like every year they got better. The past 3 years they have gotten better. And then you look at the edge rushers, the pass rusher. You need a pass rusher. We have TJ Watt, who's a Hall of Fame little pass rusher. You got Alex Highsmith. We got a lot of guys who can rush the quarterback at a high level. And then it's quarterback. Those are 3 things you need right there to compete for championship. O-line, quarterback, and elite level pass rusher. Elite quarterback, good O-line, and elite level pass rusher. If you have those 3 things, you can make it. We've seen the Eagles, they got those 3 things. Chiefs got those 3 things. They won Super Bowls as well. If you ain't got those 3 things, it's kind of hard to try to win like that because you gotta be able to pick the slack up somewhere. And the Steelers missing the quarterback one. If you had the quarterback one and you was missing maybe O-line, maybe you might still have a chance to pull it off, to maybe get to the Super Bowl. We've seen Mahomes do before, but sometimes it's best to have all 3. If you have all 3 combination of those things, you can compete with anybody in this league like that. And the Steelers have the elite edge rushers as well, and the O-line that's kind of getting into being a good O-line, a great O-line like that, getting into it, kind of like growing slowly up there. But the quarterback position is still a question mark, so I cannot say they're a contender for a Super Bowl. Playoff contender, yes. Super Bowl contender, I cannot say that yet, especially in the AFC where you got to play against the Lamar Jackson in your division. You got Joe Burrow. Now, the Steelers do a good job in the division. That's one thing the Steelers do. Even without the quarterback help, they still do a good job in the division and going out there and winning 4, 5 division games like that, going out there and playing well and stuff. I think last year they might have won. I think last year actually they only won 3, I think, because they messed themselves up. Yeah, but still having a good record, either 500 or over 500 record in the division. But you still got to play Chiefs. Still got to play the Bills as well. You got to play some tough teams, of course, in the AFC. And they're going to be very, very difficult at times to try to best those teams. So we got to see if the Steelers can find a way to get a quarterback, develop a quarterback. Mr. Rudolph is solid, but he's not the long-term answer. Will Howard did get drafted. We'll see how he looks. He could possibly be the next big thing, or he could possibly be the next worst thing. You never know what could happen. It could be either way. We have to wait and see what goes on. And Rodgers could be a quarterback. You might have a chance that he could throw the ball well, but he just can't move. And he's a little older and stuff. Let's see how things go and stuff. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah. I thought the Steelers are a contender for the playoffs, but not a contender for Super Bowl. I've seen a lot of the debate. They're trying to debate like Steelers being a contender and stuff. I'm like, yeah, they can be a contender for the playoffs, but I don't know if it's a Super Bowl contender. I feel like there's a few select teams in the AFC and NFC who are Super Bowl contenders. You look at the Chiefs, of course. You look at the Ravens. You look at the Bills. I think you look at those two right there, and you're like, those teams are teams that'll be there. AFC title games. They've been to AFC title game the past 2 years and stuff like that. Teams that have been up there competing like they're trying to get to the Super Bowl. And then you look at the NFC, you got the Eagles, of course. You got the Commanders as well. What they did last year was phenomenal. You got the Lions, Vikings, possibly be built there as well too. So there's some teams that can be on there in the end, like on that conference as well too. So it's like you got to kind of see where your team kind of fit in. I think the Steelers might not be the top 5 team in the AFC as of right now. Maybe, definitely top 10, of course. You know, but. Maybe fall in that 7, 8 spot like that. It would be kind of like the borderline spot where you barely in the playoffs and then you play the top seed, the second seed, and you might get blown out. So basically the same kind of spot we've been in the past few years. I like our roster we did in the draft, but I don't know if that's going to put us over the edge to win in the playoffs. We have to wait and see what goes on because the quarterback position is still the position that's missing. Our defense will be good and be great. Our receiver core, oh man, it's nice. You got George Pickens, you got DK Metcalf, and you got Robert Woods now with Calvin Austin, who had 500 yards last year, who had a big time improvement. He had 400 plus more yards than he had the year before. And then you have, of course, Ronald Wilson. We haven't seen him yet fully. See how he's going to play out there, too. So you have some guys. And then Darnell Washington, Pat Fryermuth. You got Caleb Johnson, the running back. We had 1,500 rushing yards last year. You drafted him. Jalen Warren as well, dual threat running back. So you have some pieces everywhere. But the quarterback position is still the main piece that's missing. So we'll see what goes on and what happens. But that's all I have for today's video. Let me know down below what you guys think. Are the Steelers contenders in the playoffs? And are the Steelers contenders for a Super Bowl? Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys when I see you. Peace out.